Hi everybody. Welcome to my crystal grid making workshop. We're working with love grids today, okay? The time that I'm filming this is just before Valentine's Day. So working with a lot of love crystals, which is excellent. And love crystals, the thing with the grids and the love crystals, first and foremost, they should be for you, you know? And then secondly, sending out the love for other people and for the world and for healing and for all that. Okay, don't mind me, I'm a little winded. It actually took me a while to get this whole setup. I underestimated how many things I would need. So you've got a lot in store for you. Okay, great. All right, so first I'm gonna start off, hold on one second. Okay, so I'm going to start off with using a heart chakra crystal bowl sound healing, okay? And that's going to clear the energy and open up your heart chakra. And then as far as everything you need, I really would suggest watching the video and then you'll be able to see what resonates with you, okay? So a little crystal bowl healing, heart chakra. And that's good for opening up your heart center and just taking a moment with that and placing your hands over your heart center and taking a few deep breaths in and cleansing breaths out, going at your own pace. Okay. And that's good for yourself. And it's also actually really good for clearing all the tools that you're using. And I am just trying to work with my camera here is acting up a little. Okay, great, that's better. All right, so it's actually been a hot minute since I've been on here, but it's nice to be back. I'm going to start with a little bit of smudging, and please, I would advise you to take notes while we're going through here too, because like I said, it's going to be a lot of information. So, and you can always come back to the video as well too if it resonated with you and you want to go through it again and set it up. So just lighting some sandalwood incense. And sandalwood is a great incense to be using. A little for you and a little for me. And I have all of my tools on here. And like I said, the setup was a little complicated, so I'm sure I looked a little squished in the video and you can't see everything I have here, but I will be putting it up for you so you can see it. So again, sandalwood incense. It's a great incense to use when you're working with any type of energy that you want to bring in for love, okay? And I say any type because I mean whether it's for yourself or whether you're sending that out as a healing energy or working with something else, okay? Ooh. And that's a dragon's blood candle that I'm working with also. and dragon's blood is excellent. Dragon's blood oil magnifies, and you can have that in so many different forms. What that does is it magnifies anything that you're doing. So any intention that you're doing, it's just going to escalate the energies, magnify the energies, okay? So it's really a great go-to. I suggest having it, have it on hand always, okay? And if you find a good one, they really smell really great. Like I said, if you find a good one, and you can anoint yourself with that as well too. You can anoint candles with it, so it really gives off a nice scent that you can connect with your magical work. So I actually have a cake stand here. I had to improvise last minute. All right, so you can actually see the grid that I'm working with, okay, in this little tight space that we have here. Okay, so you could actually, and I have made mini grids on cake stands because you can move them around easily, okay? So once you have it all made, it's not like a bummer if you have to move it, or maybe you have people coming over and you need to move it, or if there's little kids coming over or something, you know, so it's nice to make your grid on something that's easily to move, okay? Easy to move. So you could, like I said, you could make it right on here, and it looks really pretty like that. But I do have a couple of other things here to work with as well. I have a tray. So a tray is another great thing that you can use. I actually use this in my shop. I have it underneath my Reiki table, so it's easy to move in and out. It's easy to work with, okay? The metal, of course, matters. All right, so this is silver. Silver is a great conductor of energy, and it's also a metal that works well with me. All right, so that's important because obviously you're working with your energy, right? Not all, everything is energy, right? So, wow, just weighed it out really bad. Not all metals will work well with you, okay? So you might even want to do a muscle test to see what metals work with you, okay? Which is very, very interesting. And you can do a metal test with just about anything. Not a metal test, a muscle test rather, okay? So I really would suggest you doing that. If you want more information on that, just drop a comment and I'll tell you a little bit more about that, or maybe even do another video with that too, okay? All right. So you can build right on here, which looks really pretty. And again, we're doing Love crystal grids. And this is a rose quartz. So just to show you what it looks like. Okay, and then we'll be building from there, right? And I also have a flower of life. Little tapestry, napkin, whatever you want to call it. You could put on top of there. Now the flower of life is really nice because it's magnifying all those energies and it's connecting with everything, excuse me, with everything that is, right? So that's really exciting to use as well. So I'm just going to see what works better, what you can see better, and then that's what we'll be working with. All right, check my notes. So when you're assembling your crystal grid, one thing I like to point out is it really should be a lot of fun, okay? So it shouldn't be stressful. There's a lot of steps, and I'm going to show you a lot of steps tonight too, from really basic to a little bit more complicated. So you want to do what's for you, and like I tell people all the time as well, if you have to do it in steps, do it in steps, okay? So you can really enjoy it, all right? Because there's a lot of charging of the crystals, there's the cleansing of the crystals. It can get very involved, right? But it can also be super, super simple. So it's really up to you what you're doing and what your intentions are, because the intentions are everything, okay? All right, so like I said, we're gonna start with basic info and then we're gonna build from there, okay? When you're assembling your crystal grid, you really want to look at the moon phases, all right? I would suggest doing it on a full moon phase because full moon magnifies all intentions, or You could do it on the waxing phase, okay? So when it's leading up to the full moon, all right? Because you want to increase those energies. You want to draw those energies into you, okay? And also, if you could do it on a Friday, Friday is the day of love, okay? So it's a great day. You're just putting another layer on there, okay? A layer of energy. Alrighty. Okay. So we've got our foundation here, okay? So underneath the grid, you're already going to know what you want to bring in for this grid, right? Say I'm working on self-love, okay? So I could write out an affirmation, I could write an I am statement, just about anything. So that's something that you would journal on and write, okay? I am worthy, I am enough. That's one that people use a lot. So I'm going to write I am enough. And then you could go on and on and on with that, okay? With all the intentions that you want to bring in with this grid, okay? You could fold that up and put it on there, or if you have something like this, you can slip it right underneath, all right? So it's nice because that's underneath, it becomes part of the grid, okay? Part of all your intentions. So I'm actually gonna write a couple more on here. So you get the idea. So this is something that should be pretty well thought out, you know, before you go and do it. Okay. Now, if you were sending love to someone in particular, or say you wanted to work on your relationship, you could take a photo. You could take a photo of yourself and your partner as well, and stick that underneath the grid. So that's part of the foundation of the grid. Or like I did, you could also slip it under here as well if you were using something like that. Okay. But you can easily write your intentions, or you don't have to put anything. You can just charge it right into the crystals, which we will get to. Okay. So again, a few more layers. Intention is everything, but the more you do, the better, right? Because it's just more energy going into it, okay? So, all right. Okay, so I did write down you may want to be using a candle. Like I said, I'm using the Dragon's Blood candle. It is the color red, so it's nice. So you're working with all those energies, bringing it in, lots of love energy. Dragon's Blood is enhancing everything that you're doing. Good for love working as well. Let's see, sandalwood incense we used. And now we can get to the crystals. Make sure I didn't write anything else down. Okay, so I have got a few different types of crystals here. So rose quartz is one that I love, and it's a go-to of mine. I have so many rose quartz here. I wish you could see them all. I think you can. Oh, this is a humongous one I have, and I have several others too because it's really heavy. Because I work with it so much, right? So I think that the more that you have it around you, the better, right? So rose quartz is not just for trying to bring in love. It's love for yourself. Remember that. That's the foundation. The foundation of everything is love, okay? So that's really important. I do have another big piece here. Rose quartz is really a little pig too. So you can have some fun with it too. So it's a little pig shape, which is cute, and it's cute for kids too. So if you have kids that really like the crystals, I mean, all kids could use a little rose quartz too. So getting them something like that would be a lot of fun too for them. Let's see. I also have a little tiny pyramid because I wanted to show you the different things that you could use. Hopefully you can even see that there. Yeah. So a little tiny pyramid. So you could have this big, huge grid that you're working with, depending on your space, depending on your need, depending on what you want. depending on your budget, right? Or you can make a little tiny one. If you have small kids and you're afraid they're going to touch it or move it, or if you have animals, like a lot of people have cats and they think that they can't have a crystal grid, I would say get a shadow box, right? So get a shadow box and you can actually glue the crystals in a grid format and put it up on your wall. Or you can even put it up on a shelf. So like a bookshelf or on top of something. Okay, so remember if you're using something, a hard surface, you can stick it up high so they can't get to it, right? Excuse me. Okay, so what's the difference with the shapes of the crystals, right? That's probably a question. I swiped the comments too, so if you're asking questions, I will come back to this and look at it and answer your questions. It was way too distracting for me, trying to concentrate on what I was doing and then seeing everybody writing and then picking up on that energy, okay? But I will come back and I will read the comments. So if you have questions, post them, okay? I will come back, like I said, and answer your questions if I can. So pyramid, what that does is it, and they all do, all the center crystals are going to draw up the energy and radiate it out. All right, so the pyramid is a little bit more concentrated, okay? So think of the points. So the points are going to be more direct, more concentrated, okay? Sphere, like we showed you before, but I'll put it up again. And again, this is rose quartz. So the sphere is going to radiate it out. Okay, so if you're really trying to project love, like if you're doing a sending love out with like healing intentions or what have you, sphere is wonderful to use. And I tend to use spheres a lot too because I'm not always setting my intentions out for myself. Like I have a lot of the rose quartz in my home in sphere form, and that's because I want it to radiate out to everyone, okay? Not just everybody who lives here, but anybody who comes through, and even farther out than that, okay? Because remember, crystals, they grow in the earth. They do affect us, some more than others, right? You won't know until you try to work with them, right? Open your heart up to working with them, right? I also have a generator. So this is, and a lot of people will use that term loosely, a generator will have all equal sides at the point, okay? A generator will just magnify that energy a little bit more strongly, okay? Again, it's got the point, so it's a little bit more direct, okay? Lifting everything up, sending it out. And, oh, I do have another one. I can use this. And then I have another crystal here as well too. It's not perfectly cut like a generator, but it will still work, okay? And then you could actually use a cluster too. I get people that ask me these questions all the time. That's why I figured I'd go through it here. So I have a cluster here as well. Okay, clusters. Clusters is just gonna scatter the energy a little bit more because there's a bunch of different points. So that's basically what you need to know, okay? Points are a little bit more direct. Sphere is going to radiate it out, okay? Whew. All right. So rose quartz, getting back to that. Rose quartz is good for love, obviously. It's good for confidence, balancing yourself. It's also good for self-esteem, right? Comforting yourself, comforting the space, comforting the energy in your environment. What else did I write down? Oh yes, and it's good for positive affirmations. So I work with positive affirmations every day. So having a lot of rose quartz around is just, it's helping you love yourself. It's helping you work with those affirmations and working with those energies that you want to bring in and all those things that you want to manifest. All right. So really good. Rose quartz is also good for, for healing of trauma, okay? For dealing with the loss of a loved one, mostly, okay? And that is very traumatic, if you ask me, so that's a nice one to work with if you have gone through that or going through that, or you know somebody that has. Gifting them a little piece of rose quartz is nice, which also reminds me, saying little, does size matter? I hope you laughed because I did. Of course it does. But the more you have, in the way that the more you have, the more that influence is going to be in the energy. All right. If you have a little tiny, this isn't rose quartz, but I'll show you this. If you have a little piece like this, yes, it's going to matter. It's going to work. Okay. But the more you have of it, the more of that energy you're going to have around you. All right. So now I'm just going to go through a few of the different crystals that I like to use for love grid, or for having that in your home or your space, for bringing that energy in. Okay, so remember rose quartz for self-love, for confidence, for healing. All right, now we're going to move on to rhodochrosite. Rhodochrosite would be another great one. Isn't that pretty? That would be another great one to use for a love crystal grid. Okay, rhodochrosite is really great for healing. Again, with the past trauma, it's good for removing blocks. Okay, so if you have blocks from any type of trauma that involves love or being able to love, okay, I see that a lot. That would be a really great one to work with. Again, with grieving, and this is an excellent one because a lot of people get stuck in the grieving process and it's really hard for them to carry on, okay? For grieving from, or blocks from people maybe not giving them the love that they should have received. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. So rhodochrosite rather, is a great crystal for that. So if you're doing some healing energy, or you want to send some healing energy out to somebody in particular, or a group in particular that have those, that are dealing with those issues, that would be a great one to use. Let me see if I wrote anything else with that. Okay, so it's also good for releasing fear, which ties in emotional healing, removing blocks, and having a healing vibration. A little dry. So again, I'm going to show you a few different crystals that you can use in this, and you could always kind of do like a mixed grid as well too, which is a lot of fun. Okay. This one is rhodonite. All right, I'm going to put this up here so you can see it a little better. My camera's backwards, so I'm not saying things backwards. So for me, it looks a little funny. For you, it should look right. Okay, so rhodochrosite, it actually feels soft, and it's known to be like a soft energy, right? But the crystal itself, I don't know, when you touch it, it feels really soft. So rhodochrosite is good for true joy. So that's a wonderful thing, I think, to have in a love grid, right? So true joy heals old wounds. Okay, so again, this is going on similar as the rhodonite. It's good for self-love and loving yourself and others unconditionally, okay? And that's another thing that people struggle with, right? Understanding the people that we have in our lives and why they do the things that they do and why they don't understand you. So rhodochrosite would be really good for working with something like that, okay? Situations like that. Okay, so I'm not sure which one I want to work with. I want you to be able to see most of the crystals when I lay them down. Could do a little pig. Oh my God, too funny. All right, we'll just do this one, and hopefully it's not blocking. Hopefully it's not too big. I'll turn this afterwards anyway, so you can see it. It's going to be the same on every side anyway. So using the rose quartz, okay, in the grid that we're making, but I did give you some other choices as well too. So, and I don't have smaller crystals to use with that, to actually form the grid, but you could actually, if that all sounds right to you, and you wanted to include the rhodochrosite and the rhodonite, you could actually build with those crystals as well too. The way that I'm going to show you the grid tonight, it's a little easier, okay, and it's a pattern that I like to follow, is holding the quarters, okay, so holding the directions and building off from the directions, but you don't have to do it like that. You can actually do crystals everywhere with points facing out. There's so many different ways. I'm going to go ahead and say there's no really wrong way to do it. Okay, follow your intention, and if you feel the energy is working, then it's working. Okay, so let's see. Actually, and then the crystals that you want to choose to go in the grid should really help enhance your intention. Okay, so what did I say? I said I am enough, right? Okay, and just about anything can work with these. All right. So the next crystal I'm going to use is emerald. And emerald is working with your heart chakra, okay? And it's also bringing in really the highest form of love energy, okay? What other notes did I have here? Successful love, soulmate love, vitality, inspiration, compassion, okay? So that makes sense for me to put next, okay? So you're building off of your main crystal, okay? And then you kind of want to go in order, okay, of what energies you really want to be sending out, okay, and working with. It's all going to work, but intention is everything, like I said. Okay, so I'll have these crystals over here, and now we've already sound cleansed the crystals. We already cleansed them with the sandalwood. There's so many other ways that you can cleanse the crystals with as well. Okay, so we're going to charge these crystals. And you would do these individually, okay? Obviously, I'm not going to do that now. It would take forever. Okay, but you would hold these one by one, putting your intentions on them, what you want to bring in, okay? Remember, one by one. And you would need 4 of them, because remember I said we're going to hold the quarters, okay? We're going to hold the directions, so north, south, east, west, all right? And then the next crystal that I like to use for this is carnelian. So carnelian is working with the sacral chakra, okay? And that chakra is your passion, that's your drive, that's your creativity. And I really think that that's important when you're working with love, when you're working with anything really, because you need those energies, you need that endurance, okay? You need that passion, you need that drive. It all ties in, all right? And of course, that's working with your sexuality as well too, with your sacral chakra. Okay, so that's perfect. All right. So again, I have, these are pretty big crystals. It's big so you can see them, but you can work with tiny little crystals too. And I'm going to show you. You can use chipstones, you could use so many different things. So you could even use, so what you need next is the clear crystal quartz points. You could even use something at tiny like this, okay? But I'm going to use bigger ones just so you can see them better. Clear crystal quartz points. All right. So now I have all the different crystals that I'm using. So I'm using the emeralds, carnelian, and then the points, the clear crystal quartz points, okay? Because those are going to hold the directions as well too, all right? Again, charging each with the intention. So you could actually magnify that with the different qualities of the stones. So for instance, I am enough, I will love myself enough, maybe even holding that at that particular chakra, okay? Really putting your energy there as much as possible, okay? Carnelian, again with the sacral chakra, I will do the things that I need to do to feel better about myself or bring in that love that I'm looking for, etc., etc. All right, so you see how those layers of intention will magnify the energy. And clear crystal points, pretty much I would say, go back to your original intention, bringing them all together and directing them, using them once again for direction, okay? Just making sure I'm not missing anything. I went over the shapes. Okay. So you can see how that could take quite a bit of time. You really want to have them cleansed, maybe even charged in the moonlight. You could even do that in the sunlight. You could put it in the earth. You could earth them. Maybe not right now with the ground frozen, depending on where you are, but you get the point. So then you could lay out the crystals. So again, it's backwards. Okay, so putting the crystals down, starting with the emeralds. Okay. And you'll see many people do these different ways. Okay, and again, trust your intuition. If you want to add something to it, add something to it. Okay. Carnelian's coming. And again, I'm moving in that same manner, starting in the same location. Okay, doesn't matter if you're working with a different direction or have a different type of influence going into there, then it would matter, but then you would know where to start. Okay. Pretty much just start and go in the same manner. All right, for now. And then the quartz. So now I have the sphere. So the sphere, remember the sphere radiates energy out. Okay. So the points, all right. Well, this is going to be a big one to be on here. All right, maybe I'll use the little ones. I'm not sure you can see them. But there'll be little quartz points because they're not going to, the big ones aren't going to fit. So something fun that you could add onto this as well is with the directions. Okay, so with north, depending on what element you associate with the directions, you would incorporate that into what you do with your crystal. So I'll do one example. Okay, so north would be earth. So maybe grounding yourself. All right, so bringing in love or sending out love, but grounding those energies. Okay, so that could mean like keeping your head on straight, keeping your wits about you. So you see how you can add so many different things onto there, right? And then you would do maybe a fiery, passion-y element with fire, right? Helping things move along with air and the flow and force of water, right? So get creative with it, have fun with it. It should be a lot of fun, okay? Let's see. So then you would want to have a Vogel crystal to charge everything with. Again, you already held them in your hands and charged them, but you're going to be doing it again with the Vogel. All right, and I'll show you why in a second. But with the Vogel crystal or a double tourmalated crystal. All right, so with that, you're going to have the points on both ends, okay? If you don't have one of those, you could actually use your finger, but it's better to have a double tourmalated crystal, okay? So what you're going to do with that is, we're all aware of the third eye, right? Third eye energy right here, psychic energy right there. You're going to close your eyes and you're going to think of your intention. Okay? And you're going to hold one of the ends of your crystal here, the double tourmalated crystal. And you're going to speak out loud your intentions or say them in your head. And really empowering that crystal. Okay, so you've also charged that crystal in your hands as well too. Okay. So again, going back here. Waiting till you feel the energy. Or waiting till you know it's done. And then you're going to go to your center crystal, because the center crystal is the powerhouse of the grid, right? And then you're going to go back to your third eye. Back to the crystal. Back to the third eye. Back to the crystal. Okay? And then you're going to go from the crystal to the emerald, or whatever you have next in line here. Okay? Hopefully you can see that there. Okay? And then back here. And then remember, they're going to go in order. Okay? So then you're going to go back here. So the intention is you have connected with this crystal, you've put your energy there, and now you're taking that energy and you're bringing it down, connecting it all together. Okay? Remember, everything's energy. You're fusing them together. Your intention is fusing it together. Your action is fusing it together. Going to the emerald. Going to the emerald. Okay? Now you're going to take it and you're going to go to the next stone. In this case, it's carnelian. 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 Now you're going to go to the quartz point. Quartz point. Quartz point. Quartz point. Quartz point. Going back to the quartz points. If you want the energy radiating out but confined within a space or confined to a certain something, you'd want the points facing in, okay? If you're sending it out and it's really going as far as it needs to be, you would have the points facing out. Okay, so that's radiating out, it's generating out as far as possible, right? Okay, so points in to keep it harnessed, points out to let it flow. This Vogel crystal, or double tourmalated pointed crystal, hopefully I said that right, the energy's getting a little wacky, you would put here. Can we see that? Yeah. So you would put that in flow of the circle. So you want it to be part of the circle. Right? Maybe over here is better. Okay. So you can see how it's in line with the flow of the circle. And so remember, that energy never stops because it's double tourmalated. Okay. From where it's coming from to where it's going. And that's why. So pretty much you're keeping the flow of the energy going. Right? Okay. So then, I found these last minute when I was setting up. So I wanted to include these and show you a way that you could include more crystals, and maybe something that's a little, you could use a little bit more of and not have it so structured. So this is one of them I found here is a smoky quartz. So smoky quartz is fantastic because it filters energy. So it will filter the energy to the energy that's right for you, right? So you could actually take the smoky quartz, and as long as it's in the circle, hopefully you can see that, and just put it within the circle. And it makes it really pretty. And of course you're adding those energies on there. So smoky quartz is great for filtering the energy, and it's another great crystal that you can use, and you could even get it in chipstones like this, and then it's not a lot because you need to have equal numbers of the crystals to do this type of grid that I'm showing you right now with holding the quarters. Okay. And then I found another one. This one's really cool. Okay. So this one is Dragonstone. So the properties for this, and I'm going to read it to you, is the rebooting stone for confidence and awareness of the greater good. Dragonstone helps form new patterns, behaviors, and new approaches that are in line with the greater good. Okay, so I think that's good for this type of grid, right? Plus it's a dragon, it's cool. So putting some of that on there, and you'll feel the energy come up and up as you're making your grid. Okay. And another one that I found was sunstone, all right? And these are all chipstones. They look fantastic because they're just scattered about and they look pretty. And chipstones are something that you could use to assemble your grid. And if you wanted to make a small, tiny one to put somewhere, those would be great crystals to use as well. Even for kids' projects, they could make little cards with them and glue them to the card, or even like a craft project of making a little grid on a, you could even make it on top of like a mason jar. Maybe you were using for some type of an inspirational thing, like when you do a good deed and then you can put something in the jar and then you have the love grid on top or something, you know, just make it fun. So lots of fun. Sunstone works with the sacral chakra as well. So bringing in that passion and that energy and that drive is also really good. Okay, so now I feel like we have enough crystals here, right? And you can add as many as you want. You really can. Like I said, you don't have to hold the quarters. You could actually fill up all the space here, especially if you were using something like the Flower of Life grid. You could really follow the pattern and make that crystal grid really, really full. Okay, but you need a lot of crystals for that. All right, so trying to keep it a little more basic here and a little more doable in case you don't have a lot of random crystals laying around. So I also love to put herbs with my grids as well. So I have hibiscus and ginger here. And if you've been following my page, you may have read that that's great for a tea, along with the rosebuds, right, for bringing in love. So again, putting this on your grid, bringing those energies in. And then if you did get it in tea form, you can actually drink the tea and you're working with those energies. You're magnifying those energies, right? Manifest what it is that you desire. And then I have rosebuds. So, they're so pretty. Hopefully you can see them. They're like perfect little rosebuds. They're pretty. Okay, so putting some of those throughout. Another thing that I like to do is if you have a dried flowers, I save dried flowers a lot. If you have dried flowers from an occasion that there was a lot of love or joy from, that would be even better to use, okay? Because you already have those energies on those dried flowers and you could throw a few in the grid, all right? Remember, you can keep this super, super basic. I'm just taking you through the steps, right? You could have one crystal here in the center and a point. You could even use just a sphere or any type of crystal that we went through in the beginning and radiate that energy out. You don't have to have all this stuff, okay? You can start off very basic and add to it. You should feel it, and it should have meaning to you, and it should be fun to do, right? More than anything. So I did want to show you that I have a rose quartz pendulum here too. So what a pendulum does, if you're not familiar, is it measures energy, or it will show you where things are. You could actually use the pendulum to select the crystals that you're going to use for the grid if you have an abundance of crystals, right? Otherwise, go to a shop or order them or select them from your own stash that you have already and pick the crystals. Say like you had 10 rose quartz or something, you can actually use this to figure out which ones to use, okay? So let me just get a little water. So with the pendulum, again, it's not something that you have to have, but it's fun to use. So with your intention, again, you could put it there saying what your intention is. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to help you measure the grid, right? The energy of the grid. You can use your hands to measure that energy. You could just know that it's right and really like it. Anytime that you feel the desire to change it up a little, you probably just needs it energetically. So listen to your intuition always, right? So with the pendulum, it's going to swing, showing you the energy. So you have to program the pendulum, right? So I always like to do mine with circle right. Well, that might be off with this video too. I'm not sure how it's going to present to you, all right? But I'll tell you what I'm seeing. So circle right for the energy is right, and circle left for if it's not, and then back and forth if there's something else that I need to do, okay? So what I would want to do is ask the pendulum if the energy of the grid is in alignment and is good for me at this time, right? And then, okay, I did tell you, circle right for yes. I did it right away. Okay. Now it's going back and forth. Okay. And then I would say, if it's not in alignment, circle left, and that's probably going to do that because it usually does what I say. Okay, stop. Okay, so pendulums are cool, and I'll show you over here too. Like, I'm not swinging it, but I can show you a way that you can swing it too, if you have to. Let me put it right here. Okay, so we'll just ask it to swing to circle right. And you can see that I'm not moving my hand, and it's circling right. Obviously, you don't want to ask it to do what you want it to do. I don't use pendulums a lot for that reason. I have to block my thoughts to be able to do it, otherwise I can control it. If you're having a hard time with the pendulum moving, you can actually spin it. So what you would do would be spinning it, and I actually learned this from somebody I saw who I know she was totally the real deal. I don't even know if this would work for me. And then if it continued, this isn't my jam, so it's probably going to stop. If it continued, then you know the energy was good, or going in the direction that you needed it to, and then if it didn't, you would know otherwise. Yeah, so see, that's not how I do it, but I do teach this in my my Master Reiki class too. So that's a tool that I like to give to people, and I see people be very successful with that way too. And they're not spinning it after they give it that little push. All right, you can tell that it's still going, right? So whatever works for you. If the pendulum doesn't work for you, then don't use it. But I just wanted to show you it's another tool that you can use. And if you are using a pendulum, it should be used only for the grid. So you would put that in the circle as you did with the Vogel or the double tourmalated crystal. So it's always working with that energy, so it knows what it's supposed to be. And the tool is only used for those intentions, right? So hopefully I covered everything. Let me see. Again, if you have questions, please post them in the comments. I'm not seeing anything right now. Location in your home. All right, so that's a question that comes up a lot. So obviously you could put it in the bedroom, right, for love. You could actually also put it all over the house. I like to have it everywhere. I like to have it, especially where people gather. So you'd want to have it in like where you eat, where you guys spend the most time, right? Because you want to magnify that love energy in those areas. Or you could, or you could also use a Bagua mat. All right, so that's working with Feng Shui. And the way that I do it, a lot of people will do it from their front door. The way that I do it is, see, nobody goes through my front door, so there's no chi energy going through the front door. And I'm really big on energy, so I just couldn't bring myself to do align my house with that energy from the front door. So I use the Bagua map from the back door, right? Because that's where all the energy is always coming in for years and years. Like it's never been different. And you want to work with that chi energy, right? So whatever works for you, like I always say, do your own research and trust your intuition, right? So anyway, from my back door, I have my grid, my love grid in that right location. So you can get the Bagua map, just Google it, put it on your phone, and then you can actually do the scale with your house, or you can do each room individually. So it's a lot of fun. It really does change up the energy. You would want to put your crystal grid, like I said, where it matters. And if you really wanted to put that other layer of energetic intention on there, use the Bagua map. Okay. Like I said, you can look it up on Google, put it on your phone, and it's fun to go through your room. I bet you anything, if you go through with your map, through your individual rooms and through your home, you'll notice colors, you'll notice little things that you've put places, just intuitively, you know, without even knowing or having looked at the Bagua map before. It's pretty interesting because there's so many different layers that you can put on an intention. And we really all are intuitive, right? It's just tuning into those energies and understanding them. So lots of fun. If you want to repurpose the crystals, I would say just cleanse them, repurpose them. How do you recharge the grid once again? You go back through and do everything. You could actually go back through and do each crystal, like I said before, how we constructed the grid, or you could use the Vogel and just do that again, charging the crystals. Okay. So, like I said, hopefully you can see that good. Remember holding the quarters. The quarters are an easy pattern to remember, and there's balance there, and you're working with so many different energies there as well too, so that's fun. I think that's all for this. If you liked this, you know, let me know. Give me a like. Also, maybe you could let me know if you want to see other types of grids or what else you want to know. I'm going to be working off of my page from now on, my business page. And hopefully this is where it was posting because it was hard to see before. That would be funny if it wasn't. But everything happens for a reason. Anyway, yeah, let me know if there's other things that you want to see because I'm going to be doing a lot more on my business page, okay? You won't get the notifications like you do with groups. I'm not working with that group anymore. It was just too much energetically. So you will have to check back on the page. Okay, check back often because I really feel a push to be sharing a lot more lately, and let me know what you want to see, right? Because I'm in a very loving, generous type of mood. Anyway, I will check back here for questions. Even if you want to put questions back here on here anytime, just feel free to do so. Okay, guys, I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have plenty of time now to make a love grid if you want to. We have the full moon in Virgo coming up on the 19th, which is my birthday. Yay, happy birthday to me. But it is pretty cool to have a full moon on your birthday. So you have plenty of time to construct a grid if you're in the mood for it now. A love grid. Remember the love grid for yourself, for past healing, for places, for the environments, for everything. There's so many different things, right? And love starts with yourself. Love is everything, right? So I hope you guys enjoy this. Yeah, it was fun being back on, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay. Have a good night, and happy Valentine's Day.